I very, very rarely cast games which I'm not in. Having said that, I think I'm going to enjoy this game a lot. What does Fox say? Wa pa 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 pow, wa pa 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 pow, wa pa 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 pow. What does Fox say? And that was said by Ylvis. So let's start with Red's deployment. This is Integer UK Soffers playing as first UK Armoured with a new meta strat, or attempted meta strat, depending on if this works or not. So going left to right, we start off with para leaders who immediately unload on the start to get that lovely +2 tick. Having said that, you would have to load these back into the rover, so you see that auto sail of the rover is off, so that he can move into the next zone and cap that one as well. Behind that, we have 9 Scorpion tanks. So no one uses these because they have 10 penetration, 8 fire rate, and 40% accuracy. Generally, the scimitar is seen as better in every single regard. However, as this is a heat gun, high explosive anti-tank, it will always deal at least 1 damage to armor, unlike kinetic projectiles, which are found on autocannons, which will not shoot if the armor is too thick. So these can kill a heavy tank en masse. Behind the Scorpions, we have 2 Gazelle rockets, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 warriors in gun groups in warriors. So the warrior has been nerfed by 5 points. It's 35 now instead of 30, but it's still the same warrior we know and love. It's just more expensive because people like nerfing UK. The tracked rapier obviously not amazing anymore because it is now manually guided instead of fire and forget. In real life it was sack loss, but I believe this is the closest thing you get to sack loss in this game, at least for ground units. And it's great against helicopters and okay against planes, but it's just really not amazing. And in the back we have yet another Gazelle rocket, somewhat behind the first. On the right we've got a rover to Milan Para just to stop any rushes on this right side, and an SAS patrol just to stop any rushes on this right side. So SAS patrol, pretty expensive unit to put here, and only 4 strength. I would prefer something else like a warrior gun group, simply because what do you need the recon for if you are here? Having said that, if he moves it up to here, he can get good recon sightlines on all this. Switching over to our unsuspecting opponent, Strom, playing as 2nd Panzer Grenadier Division. I just call them 2 Panzer, which isn't right, but I do that on purpose. He's got a Lux out on the far left here, which is going to go all the way around to the back of the map to snipe reinforcements. So I like that a lot, actually. That's really funny. And you see that he's trying to path it through the open space as much as possible, because open space is obviously faster than trees, and that's why he follows this natural contour down here. So yeah, really impressed by that. I might try that one out myself. And on the left, he's got 1 Marder A2 Milan, with the Panzer Grenadier Marder just going to here, dropping these guys off, dropping these guys off. So in the hotfix, the price of most IFVs were increased. So BMP3, Bradley, Warrior were all increased. Can't remember about the BMP2. But the Marder, strangely, was untouched. So now, for 45 points, you've got this beast, with 4 front armor and a Milan and an MG3. On the left, we've got a recon helicopter going to mid, and another Marder 1A2 Milan just covering this here. So he's dropping off the people here, and then he's moving the Milan to here so that it can use that ATGM. So yeah, that's really smart. In the center, we've got 1 FS Jaeger Aufklärer going to here, and you see that auto cell is off, which is interesting. And the FS Jaeger Aufklärer get paratrooper forward deployment, Panzerfaust 3, but no ground surveillance radar, sadly, which the SAS patrol gets. So what is ground surveillance radar? Ground surveillance radar gives you a +1 optics level when you're stood still for once a couple seconds. But as soon as you start moving, you lose that optics level. So that means SAS Patrol actually have exceptional optics, whereas FS Jäger Aufklärer do not have exceptional optics. Behind them, you've got some Jäger Aufklärer, so these are really good combat recon due to their 11 squad strength. And he's deploying them really quite conservatively, actually. I usually put mine here or here. Behind that, we have a CV. With the CV changes, you can cap all 3 zones with 1 CV, if you didn't know already. 2 Sicherungs, so these guys don't have an AT weapon. Having said that, so in the previous patch before the hotfix battle rifles were useless, the Udino non-hotfix patch, there was an issue with battle rifles. If you didn't know about it, that's probably for the best, but there's a reason you didn't see any West German divisions on the tournament this weekend, except played by Tanner, I believe. And that's because the battle rifle was useless, and the battle rifle is now useful. Having said that, no MG, no AT, IHawk, going to here, pretty decent spot, but no supply. Oh, never mind, there is a supply, and it's going to the IHawk, so that's fantastic work from Strom. 1 Pioneer Flam, which is not a unit you usually see sent to the middle, but yeah, he's unloading here and then moving the Fuchs Milan here so that it can shoot. Well, I mean, I guess after that he would send it here or something. A Gepard 1A1, Leopard 1A5, and 2 Marder 1A2 Milans. So these are deploying really quite defensively. I guess he wants to build up his forces before he attacks. I'm surprised by the lack of FS Jäger. I believe second gets FS Jäger with Panzerfaust 3s, and all we see is the 1 recon. So Jäger Aufklärer going to here, combat recon, and I think I've just realised why his deployment is so conservative. First, Armoured gets the opportunity to bring 2 cards of Terrier Paras. So these are regular infantry, but they're paratroopers. And so he's expecting first to get quite an aggressive deployment in here, and that's why he's deploying everybody so conservatively so he doesn't get sniped by Terrier Para Carl-Gustav. So behind the Jäger Aufklärer, we've got a Leopard 1A5 and a Sicherungs to tank. On the far right, we have some Feldjäger, so you don't see this unit a lot. They have the military police trait, which increases suppression heal rate. The MP5 is really good, by the way, but a 4-man squad, 15, you don't see it that often. So another feature of the military police is that they remove unsteady traits of nearby units. Sicherungs oh, okay, I thought they were militia, so they're not unsteady, so just forget I said that. And he brings some Panzergrenadier Marder in cars, and he's going to put one of those here. So with that out of the way, let's get on with the game. And because I care more about what this guy is going to do, I'm going to watch from this side. So, very aggressive deployment here from Integer. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. Right, so they're off. Everybody is going to where they said they were going to go. The Para's leaders were immediately scooped back up, and now he's going to drop them into Echo, and then he's going to put them in the middle. So I agree with doing it that way around. If you take the middle, and then the other guy takes the middle while you're over here, then it feels a bit pointless. And Integer also opened with a Tornado F3, which he gets an imperfect pass off on this bow recon helicopter here. The Tornado's out, and there are a Gepard and an IHawk here, but they're too far away. Strom lands the helicopter, and therefore survives. The Tornado does not get hit by the first IHawk shot, or the second, that was at max range, and Strom immediately loads it back in, so he can keep moving it up. There's our rockets out here. They kill that transport truck, and they slow down the push here. Tornado F3 out from Strom. This Gazelle shouldn't still be going forwards. This engages the enemy Tornado, and it wins. But there's another tornado behind it. These are all 1-vet tornadoes. Tornado, by the way, has gone up in price by 20 points. But Integer is flying over that Gepard, which is not good, but he gets the 2 missiles off there with that pass, and so he takes out the enemy tornado. Scorpion's now engaging, very clumped up. This Leopard will probably die to them. So, 1 Scorpion routed, but still alive with their 2 front armor. And they see them pouring into these Leopards. Once they take enough hits, they're only 2 vet. They become very stunned. The Fox gets a couple warriors. But the warriors are still going, with the gun group still inside, because the aim, I assume, is to take this tree line. The Gazelles are being used for recon. They're out of rockets, but they're just being used to scout these guys, it seems. Tornado's still out, possibly to deter any panic bombers, but flies over the Gepard and gets routed, so is now useless. That Jaeger Aufklärer is still alive there. But these piecemeal Marders cannot deal with this spam. Having said that, the Leopard does have the advantage here, because at close range he's going to one-shot them. But with the heat guns, they're not going to one-shot him. They do get stunned, however. Bomber out for Strom, presumably to bomb this big blob, which has 1 tracked rapier behind it, which is not really sufficient to kill the bomber, but in combination with the tornadoes could be enough. Integer now just securing his lead here, and Strom struggling to bring in the CV because of all this. And we now have a first armoured that has taken the middle pretty decisively. Good bombing run from Strom, doesn't take any damage either, and the tornado is repairing. Integer still pushing with these Scorpions. Now keep in mind that as a recon vehicle they do get optics. The gun groups are... they have no AT option, so he's relying on the Scorpions and the base warriors here, not Warrior Milans. You cannot get gun groups in Warrior Milans. And Strom still has a hold here, but doesn't seem to know what to do about this. So that Gepard's getting out of there. Presumably he saw these guys cross in. We've got an ATGM helicopter with 2,625 meters range, which is respectable. But the tracked rapier has 3,000 meter range against helicopters. It is, however, out of position. And it seems that we've reached a bit of a stalemate here. These Gazelles could be resupplied. And Integer's moving up his para-leaders just in case. Strom's getting round on the left here, and presumably, yes, the Lux is almost there. Integer now +3. Scorpion spots the Panzer Grenadiers. These warriors don't really have any support. I suppose he's relying on the fact that there isn't really much here. The bow is distracted, however, it's shooting the Scorpions, and it gets one of them. These warriors need to smoke if they still have it. Behind that, I hear the roaring sound of a Tornado F3 to kill that ATGM helicopter, but it misses with its missile, doesn't get a gun run off. Now there's an enemy Tornado behind it and took an Ihawk shot. So a Seed aircraft finishes off the ATGM helicopter, and he's going to get guns off on this Tornado. Or will he? So this is some expert micro, but he presses the evac button, which was a mistake, because now he's going to take the full hit of those guns and go down. Should have kept circling. Another Tornado out for Integer. So I think he's got 4. In the forest here, these Scorpions are going to lose to these Marders. Now keep in mind that the Marder has more armor. And fires faster than the Scorpion could aim its gun. Tornado scaring away some more bombers here, but the Gepard died. The Gepard must have been killed by the Scorpions on this left side. The Ihawk must have been killed by the warriors on this right side, and so now there's no AA out. So this Tornado's got free reign. And these paras are being sent forwards. I think that's too risky. I think they will die to that Panzer Grenadier. Gina HE out here to chase away the tornado with their guns. But if the tornado's careful, he can avoid a head-on fight. Or he can take one, get wounded, and live to tell the tale. Although he will be... Mr. Fish will be out of commission for a while. Strom's doing a great job on this right side. He's got the looks all the way around. Yet another tornado. Will this one get the kill? Command zone lost. So Integer's command is going to this point here, which is Bravo. And Strom managed to get his in here. He now felt confident enough to do so. So now Strom is +1, but I believe that will change. Integer's +1 again. Now what Integer needs here is another command. He's got some foxes out. So here comes a command tank. Do wonder what this guy's going to do once he gets over here. Just snipe transports, I suppose, and be frustrating to deal with. Seed aircraft out to presumably kill that bow. But he might be able to get that Gepard on the side. The bow, however, is too close in and dies to the warrior. The seed aircraft is withdrawn. Strom doing a good job of playing the flanks here. And Integer, instead of buying another CV, sending his first one back. Because this is smoked, it can't see that. If it wasn't smoked, it'd be able to kill that. And there you go, Integer's now +4. Seed's coming back around, and he's going for the Gina. It wins. But strangely enough, you know, is this switched off? I think it was switched off. So this guy's gonna have a really bad day now. With the Gepard and the Eyehawk. But all the points that... So Strom is forced to buy AA, and he should do. But all the points that he spends on that can't be spent on things he needs a bit more, like tanks. Over here, this group will be able to kill all this if used properly, just because these guys don't have an AT option. The Scorpions won't beat the Marders. There's not enough of them left. Integer moving forwards with the warrior. Rapier gets another kill. Really needs some infantry over here. The warrior's driving forward's interesting, but it won't work in this case. I think he made a play to try and get that AA there. These guys have been spotted, but the Gazelles have been resupplied by supply back here. We've got a command tank in. Strom's idea with this Marder 182 Milan's a good one, but I don't know why it's there. So if you're here, you can shoot people in the back as they come in down this road. But if you're here, well, you're going to see people at the same time they see you. But we now see Strom's intention to push down here. Try and do something about that lead. Integer has loaded up his Paras leader in a warrior for transport and safety, which is really smart actually. It's very rare that you see somebody do that. And it seems that the Marders here did lose to the Scorpions, so good micro there from Integer. And the suppression of this gun is proving to turn the tide of this fight. Fox and the warrior killing these guys. So these guys should have Marders behind them, and they are around, they're just here. Would love to have seen Strom try and take this part, because he saw that the enemy wheeled round to our left, so he should have wheeled round to the right. And he could have taken this, and then that gets very, very frustrating to deal with. So only one Rapier on the field to contest this Gina, which uses its guns instead of its bombs. I heard an interesting explodey sound there. And the game is now evened out with Integer 1,216 points, which puts him ahead of Strom's 13 points. Smarder's now here to try and snipe things on the road, but you really want to shoot people in the back. as much as possible so that they don't have a chance to shoot you back. So this is a good spot, somewhere around here. You see what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to give myself loss on the enemy's side and rear only. So a spare CV for Integer now. Doesn't know quite what to do with it. But it seems that Strom's going to do an attack here and Integer's none the wiser. Doesn't seem to know about this. This Bedford supply may die to that Milan. So this Milan is out of ammo from shooting over here, presumably. So it will not help in this fight. An SAS patrol, not really the sort of units you want here, in my opinion, because you can't really take advantage of the exceptional optics. Unless there's something I haven't seen. Be interested to see if this Marder can... There you go, yeah, so it saw it, but it couldn't aim fast enough because of it only gets a tiny little bit of LOS just looking over the crest of this hill here. Gun group fighting Zickerungs. The Eyehawk's moving up. And Integer has resorted to buying normal units, although I'm surprised by his decision to bring the rifles in the FV432, but this one is wounded and I don't know why, so I think that had something to do with the Lux that was back here, which is now dead, so I missed that, and I apologise. So I guess the FV432 saved the rifle's life, because if they were in a truck, they would have died. So, card of gun groups in Warriors, card of MAGs in Warriors. A bit more AA, which is good. No supply for this tractor AP yet, although I did see a supply. So, yeah, that guy's going to die. The FV432 does get smoke. MMGs are a bit better now than they used to be, although 12 suppression, maybe not, actually. Seed aircraft out again. I know Integer's a good fan of these, actually. But you see Strom's got his AA off and then he turns it back on. SAS Patrol gets 2 rockets off, so it kills both of the Fuchs Milans. Can't do anything about these Pioneer Flams, and now Strom's +4 because he's got this zone here. Over on this side, we see Integer sniping, well, not sniping, running at the CV and killing it with the rifles that get the Law 80, which is a very good rocket launcher. So rifle supported by MAG. Would love to see the Warrior here, so it can shoot. And the FV432 actually doing something here. SAS Patrol still running. More Gazelle rockets bought for this zone, but you've got 2 here. Here we go. Surprised by the lack of a recon helicopter from Integer. They are extremely useful. I mean, you just fly one over here, you'd see all this, and then you know how to deal with it. As it stands, the Milan 2 Para is not going to beat the Panzergrenadier Marder. As soon as he gets in this building, he's going to try and snipe that transport. Gets it. He's going to eat some rockets. Just keeping the seed circling. But yeah, Integer could have tried to come back in here with the command tank. I mean, it is a tank. And left this Warrior here for full control of middle. As it stands, having taken the mid, he is still losing 1 point. The seed misses the Gepard and will probably now die to these F4Fs. Okay, it survives. The Tornado takes a weird turn and will now fly over the Gepard. Oh, he gets the last missile off on the Gina, but he does miss. And he takes high cohesion damage from the Gepard. Very little actual damage, but high cohesion damage, so these aren't going to hit anybody. Cohesion's too low. Needs to get out of there, really. Another CV purchase for Strom. Try and get back in the zone. Lots of unloaded, unloaded. There's lots of loaded units around here. And I'm very surprised by the decision, having cleared this out with Gazelle rockets, to not send the Chieftain around to here and just take that. He could even get ballsy with it and drive into here and kill the Flams, but obviously he doesn't know what's in there, so he shouldn't be doing that. On the left, Strom's got suitable force over here, so the Feldjäger are backing up the Panzergrenadiers and the Zickerungs, so that all these guys will recover from suppression more quickly. But they're still going to die in an open field to a warrior. So it's still no CV in here for integer. It does bring up some MAGs, but these are very... Oh, a bit faster than I thought they were. I thought they were 9 kilometers now, maybe they changed it. Chieftain in the middle dies to an F-104 AG-AT. Should have smoked, but difficult to pay attention to everything. This guy's running out of missiles now. These guys are in a bad position. I guess he doesn't know how much is here. Could put them in the building. Or leave them in the tree line. Put them in this tree line. So this warrior could be sent to here to help. Or here. As it stands, I think Strom has recovered quite well from the initial rush. But integer does have a commanding lead with 20 minutes left. And Strom's now +4 because this chieftain still isn't in this zone. Recon helicopter out. And he's sending a paraleader to here. It seems like these men are simply going around. This guy could smoke. Rifle's getting stunned by that leopard there. This will eventually hit. I think this one will hit. Yeah, there you go. Why did I think that? Because it's got roughly 50% accuracy, and that was the second shot. I have not seen this game before. But yeah, integer beginning to buckle under the weight of 2nd Panzer Grenadier Infantry pressure here, backed up by the leopards. This paraleader's now going here, but all this time you've had a CV here and a CV here, so there was really no reason to buy these guys. And the warriors attempt to clear out the pioneer flams. They get one, but there's another one around. Just need to fly the recon helicopter around. And there you go. So now it's down to +0 after this finishes filling up, with integer in the lead. These guys are getting supplied. This is what's the word? Very optimistic. So if you drive 850 meters into a rifle, you're gonna die. Particularly if you're a very lightly armored tank. So that was a mistake. Just stayed back here. I assume he was trying to kill these warriors because he could already shoot those rifles. But now these warriors are also being shot by the Panzer Grenadier Marder. I've not seen any Panzer Grenadier Carl Gustav yet, which is very popular. You see, 2nd and 5th suffer from a... In fact, does 2nd get Panzer Grenadier Carl Gustav? I think they do, you know. I'll have to check. But yeah, West Germans generally suffer from a lack of amazing AT infantry. They still get the Panzerfaust 3 and some Carl Gustavs. And we see the first artillery piece out here for Strom. And he's hitting that track trapier, which could move, but is probably now going to get stunned and then die. So he's trying to move it, but it's too late. Hit some rifles for free. Centurion AVRE out, so these have been reduced in cost, and with suppression being so important now, they can be quite useful. This FRF's probably going for that... Oh, I thought it was going for the Gazelle, but he's not, he's going for the MAG. Yep, good kill, there's no one there. Except the... Oh, there's 2 tornadoes out for integer, so presumably he can kill this. Depends... You might get really unlucky, depending on who you're rooting for. So yeah, that was a mistake. It was not a good kill. Now we see the AVREs fighting there. I want to see a hit on that Panzer Grenadier to see what it does to it. So these guys can't shoot armored targets unless you use attack position. Come on. Whoa. Okay, so that was 3 damage. Still difficult to see if they're worth it, but given that first doesn't really get any cheap tanks, maybe they are. Assault Pioneer's out for integer, but I think he underestimates the quantity here. So he needs to stop to... There we go. So he starts getting hits off, but there's just too many people here. And these guys get the suppression reduction bonus. Why isn't he throwing his satchel? Because he's not in range. But this one was. I still think that blue's going to win over there. But not if a bunch of recon gazelle rockets come in and kill everybody. Integer using the strafing properties of helicopters to great effect. Some people think helicopters don't strafe because they only use attack move. If you just keep it moving in the same direction, it will shoot at whatever's in front of it. But as you see, it was hard to line up there. Another push from Strom on the right. Would love to see some artillery out for Integer to shoot this big blob, and here it is. Some paladins. So that could have been saved by proper application of smoke. As it stands, there isn't enough AA here. There's something like 2 javelins, I believe, unless one of them died. Looks like there's 1 javelin. So I'm sold on the AVRE. If you can fit it into your tank tab, seems to be doing its work. Sneaky play from Strom here, just coming around the back with the CV. This CV should really be here. There are too many CVs for Integer. Why does he have 4 CVs on the field? What purpose does this serve? What purpose does this serve? I mean, if you've got this many CVs, you might as well send the tank CV forwards and use it as a tank. So Strom back up to +4. For no good reason. It should still be here. It just needs to be here. It seems Integer's attention is drawn elsewhere. Got a mortar out, just peppering this area. They're not very good 81mm. I think they're a bit pants, actually. Others disagree. People who are better than me disagree. But the Paladin will start wrecking face, as it were. So, Integer waking up. The Gazelle has seen the Pioneer Flam. Goodbye, Pioneer Flam. But would love to see the Gazelle start hunting for the CV, because, you know, where the hell could that have been? Gazelle rockets being used in mass. It's interesting that there's no AA here. So there's Gepard here, but it's not in range, and the Ihawk's obviously not in range. Great way to cut down on micros using these guys in pairs. Or just do it like this, and use them in whatever 5 is. Not triplets, something else. These F-104Gs are being allowed to get away with too much here. Tornadoes finally take one down. This Gazelle should be looking for that CV. Still stabilized, or once again stabilized here. Integer playing very aggressively for a man with a massive lead, which is something I respect greatly. It's something I do myself. Right, so does this just get an immediate stun on anything? That's the question. F4F getting those Milan 2 paras. Finally enough AA out, and active use of the tornadoes, which had been out all that time actually, so bad play from Strom using that when he knew that, or at least he'd seen those tornadoes out. This guy's just asking to be shot. Strom finally realizing how weak Integer is here. These guys have no ammo. This could be sent up to them. The advantage of Chinook supply is that you get 6,000 supply in a card as opposed to 5,000 supply in a card. Bedford now going to supply the SS Patrol, who survived that entire encounter. And the CV is still here. Over on the left, Strom got his guys round here, but they were unsupported. It was just infantry without anything in it, so there's a limit to what they can accomplish. And these Gazelles are being used to great effect. Gepard's finally showing up. And it might get 2, I reckon. Okay, so he hit 2, which is obviously what I meant. No, I did think that it would kill 2. But yeah, it hits 2. Paraleader's now unloaded and squaring off against these guys. And the seed is out, and it gets the Gepards, but it doesn't get the other Gepard. It went too deep. Need to use it like you do in Wargame, just very shallow arcs. Gina survives the javelins. This one's 3 vet from a kill, Will it survive the tornado volley? Having said that, Integer's flying this over AA that he knows is there because he already lost something to it. So that evac was actually a mistake. He should have kept going and then evac, like this guy. Like, curved to the left and then evac, because as it stands, he curved this way and he took more fire from what is now an extremely comprehensive AA net from Strom. Double Chieftain Mark 9 here, backed up by the Chieftain tank, finally. And Integer knows that at least the Gepard at the front is gone. Artillery trying to kill that Leopard, or at least get him down so that the tanks can finish him off. Really smart play if the tanks are in position. 3 triple vet. Oh no, they're double vet. It's just the commander of this tank. So these guys can't support their mate, which is a shame, to say the least, because this could have been 3 tanks against 1 tank. Instead, it's 1 tank against 1 tank. And you see there the effect of veterancy. The Leopard only has 1 vet, so he's taking hits, but his cohesion goes down, he becomes useless. And then he gets killed by this Harrier cluster, which costs less than a Leopard 2. But yeah, would love to see some recon with these guys, because they're exposed, they're in the open. This guy's stunned and therefore dead. Oh, he got a bit lucky there if he's going to smoke. He's not going to smoke. This guy can't even see. What a disaster. And over here, Strom does exactly the same thing again. Integer doesn't really have enough people here. The Warrior will win because the Panzerfaust 44 is not that good and he got stunned. And there was a recon helicopter here, so if this keeps being capped, why not keep it in the zone? But here we go, Paraleader's going in the zone. And where's that recon helicopter? What? Why has there been no attempt made to find this CV? On the left, we have Strom's counterattack. These Paraleaders are now a bit exposed. Chieftain's still in here. These Gazelles have to be careful, he's just seen his friend get shot there. So they pull back. 2 Paladins out now for Integer, just shooting in that forest there. Not a bad strat. These guys are in a really tough position. I would be tempted to use the mortar to smoke here, and then you can run through the smoke back to your own lines. Integer's out of people, it seems. There's just way more blue in the middle right now. This is a one-way trip. Doesn't get anybody because they're already dead, so now it's going to die to 10 million Gepards. We now have 5 mortars out from Integer. I do wonder if he's ran out of infantry. He's got plenty of Chieftain Mark 9s. Case could be made that that is why the CV is not in the zone. But this guy's very dead and is making no attempt to try and save himself. You could get out here. You could get out this way. You don't have infantry shooting at you. This tornado's flying over 10 million AA, and now he curves back to his own lines over the AA. This Eyehawk is out of ammo though, so the tornado kills a helicopter and will survive to tell the tale. The CV is still here, but has now run out of fuel. These assault pioneers could be closer. Presumably the smoke obscures this man. And he dies to a combination of javelin and rapier. This is a tank pushing up without recon support, and will therefore die. Maybe not. The assault pioneers here lost to 2 Feldjäger because they couldn't use their satchels due to lack of range. Tornado cluster out from Integer, so he's invested heavily in air and artillery, but there's actually just not a lot of infantry here. Having said that, I think he has killed enough enemy stuff with his air and artillery to clutch, or at least hold on for a little bit longer here. So these guys are now in a bad spot. Need to pull back. but they're getting stunned on their way out. It's a very typical problem with these howitzers these days. You know, I think they do a bit too much damage to armor, if I'm being honest. And I don't think that's a particularly controversial opinion, so I don't see why I'm saying it like that. So, Leopard 2A3, 270-point tank. Second gets 6 of them. This chieftain has used its smoke. We saw its smoke used here about 10 minutes ago. And so he perishes. And because this para died here, this guy is here, this guy is in here, and the tank just died, despite having a million CVs. Integer does not have mid. Well, I almost said somebody else there. This guy's run out of ammo, so with the attack order is now trying to shoot his machine gun at the enemy, which does happen if you spam too many attack orders on these guys with shift click and they run out of ammo. The green archer will die to the Milan. Milan goes down in return. And Strom is now +3, despite all these CVs. All these CVs. So Integer, having cleared this with his face, and not bothering to move the recon up, has figured out that he can just drive a CV into here now. And I do wonder how many CVs Blue has left, seeing as a lot of them have died. And this is the first Sultan I've seen, which means there's at least 2 more. But this chieftain he's playing with fire. But he sees the Eyehawk and he gets that, so it's probably already worth it. And the CV's in the zone, and this CV gets smoke as well. That chieftain got smoke as well, so that could have smoked if he hadn't used it already. But in the center, red just doesn't have a whole lot of stuff. And his paras are shooting. So now the enemy knows where his CV is. Tornadoes were frittered and wasted over here, so they're either repairing or dead. These infantry are on attack move instead of just move. They should just run straight through these javelins. There's really nothing to be afraid of from 2 L85s. But as it stands, they've been in the open for a couple of minutes now, and now they will perish to the chieftain, which has been moved up. These Feldjägers will die as soon as Integer tries to move his guys over here. But by revealing his CV and shooting this guy, he has lost another CV. He's still +1 due to taking this zone. But there's another CV coming, and he lost his CV there. So everybody's running out of CVs here. This man shouldn't be allowed to survive. So one gazelle rocket goes down, press survive, and we are spamming 81mm mortars. Strom's now +1 again. That'll go down once this gets in the middle. The chieftain gets the first shot off, and because this is a 1-vet leopard, he should have stood his ground there. Should have stood his ground. But yeah, Assault Pioneer's no AT option, they're just going to die. He would have won with the second hit, because he would have just routed, so it'll become useless. This man has stopped just shy of the zone and is now not going into the zone. Fear of the unknown, potentially. He's driving across here so that he doesn't get revealed this time. These Feldjäger will not accomplish much because they've got no AT option, so they can't really snipe anything that comes along here, unless it's a jeep. In which case they will shoot their MP5s at it. One Tornado still sniping all the helos back here, but he's now going to fly over the Eyehawk and Gepard, which have been there all game. Eyehawk's on a move order, so it doesn't shoot, but doesn't need to. Okay, so 2 Lynx Hellarms here for the Leopard, which should smoke. Does he not have it? And he goes down. This guy's been driven out of the zone again. But at this point, I don't think it matters. I think with 3 minutes remaining, unless Strom gets this CV in here, which he could do, these guys have ran out of AT. And this guy, the champion gent, still alive. The SAS patrols see the FS Jaeger. but can't do anything because they've only got MP5s. So we see an attempt by blue to snipe the red CV. And I feel like it's coming down to the wire here. Oh, he doesn't see that one. Smoke deployed on the chieftain. But massive artillery weight coming in here to try and snipe this CV. I would love to see it just move over here and stick himself in this forest. I'm not sure what effect the mortars have had. That Fox Fuhrer could die. Yeah, so these guys don't have AT, so this Fox just has full reign over everything in this area. Nothing can kill it. So as soon as he sees that Fox Fuhrer, he's going to shoot that. And down it goes. So I believe that was Strom's last hope for this game, because if he got that in there, then he would have started ticking up again. So good use of the Fox by Integer. And the chieftain's now coming over to that forest. And these guys are shooting that Feldjäger. So this is out of supply. So this guy can't help. This guy... Well, they've got 11 rockets between them, so they could be sent over here to kill this. Now we've got a Fox in front with AVREs behind, which one has to ask why. But the game is over. So good game, well played. Really, really funny start from Integer, and one that I'm definitely going to try and replicate going forwards. Oh, that's me. This isn't me, by the way. This is a guy called Integer. It's not me. It's not me. It's a bug with the replay. I'm not called Integer UK Suffers. You're just gonna have to trust me, okay? This isn't me. Otherwise, I would just say it was my game. And then Strom, good player, rank 16, right? So he's not some pushover. He's one of the best players in the game, and he lost to this. And Integer's rank is not 16. I'm gonna try and find him now, because you might not believe me. So yeah, just a few seconds here. I have to wait for the list to populate before I can close it. Did I pass him already? That's really weird. Where is he? I must have already passed him. There's no way he's all the way down here. Alright, back to the top. Let's try that again. This time I will actually read what's in front of me. There we are, 56. So rank 56 beats rank 16 with this wacky new strat. GG, well played. I hope you enjoyed the game.